What's up guys, it's Tyler with Royal Coats Powder Coating, and today we're going to be testing out some chemical strippers. If you're powder coating and you don't have one of these, this will be something to pay attention to. If you are powder coating and you are already using a chemical, maybe this is a different chemical than maybe one of these is a different one than you're already using. Basically these are going to be all the eco strippers. They do not contain methylene chloride, which as most of you have heard is going to be kind of depleted over the next year or two, most likely by the EPA, but that's all way above me. So today we have Quick Cut 3, we have EnviroStrip, and then behind me is EcoStrip, and that is a heated one. That is the one I've started using. I used to use RimStrip. I started using this. It is slower than RimStrip, but it's much safer. I've splashed it on me, I've gotten it on my hands, and it doesn't hurt. It will be hot just because it is heated, but it doesn't burn you in a chemical sense like a RimStrip would. I've blown parts off with my pressure washer, and it kind of blows back on me sometimes, and it'll burn your skin when a piece gets on you or something like that. I haven't had that issue with this one, so that's been great. But let's go ahead and get these containers filled up, and I have a couple parts that will go into these. They're going to be identical parts, so we'll be able to compare these like for like. This one, it looks like the same coating as these. I did not coat these, but it all looks like it's powder coated the same. And I'm going to put this one in the EcoStrip. I'll do some more testing on that one with some different parts for y'all to see, but I don't have enough enough matching parts to be able to put in all three. So this is what we're going to work with today, and we'll go ahead and start with that. So this is not the original color of this stuff. I have stripped some stuff in there before. I've done a little testing on my own, but I think it came more of this color. It might have been a little darker, I don't really remember. But we're gonna go ahead and get these parts in here, and we will let them sit for about 15 minutes to start with, and then we'll see how that goes. If we need to, if it doesn't look like much has changed, maybe we'll jump it up to about 30 minutes. But let's go ahead and get them in there, and we will start timing it. All right, so the timer just went off. It's been 15 minutes. So let's go ahead and check and see what kind of progress we've made. These don't look like they've done a whole lot. These look like they were painted. Could be wrong though, I'm not sure what coating is on these, but it was different than the other two. So we'll go ahead and put those back in there. And I know some of this might be hard to see on camera right away. This one doesn't look like a whole lot has changed with the EnviroStrip. And the Quick Cut 3, I can see the edges starting to kind of bubble up. I don't know if y'all are able to see that on camera or not. We'll drop these back in here, and then we'll pull out the larger pieces. This one's a little harder to see in here. Alright. So you can't really tell a whole lot on this one. These do strip different from each other, so it might be hard to tell in the beginning on this one. This one strips similar to RimStrip. If you're already using RimStrip, or if you've seen me use it in the past, or anybody or the other coaters online, you can see this one is starting to kind of bubble up and the powder's starting to loosen. In my previous test, I noticed between the two, the reason I ended up liking this one better over these two just because of the way it's stripped. This one kind of strips like RimStrip, and you're left with a bunch of chunky pieces in the powder, which is fine. You can sift it out or use a strainer and pull them out. But This one, it kind of all settles to the bottom. So all you really need to do is pump it out, and you can scoop the bottom and it'd be just like a sludge. Same with the Eco Strip. I'm gonna do this in a second. I'll bring y'all over here with the camera. It does get pretty smoky since it is heated, and I don't have very good ventilation in the garage, or in my shop, garage, whatever you wanna call it. And it does get smoky in here. So I'll bring y'all over here and we can check it out. I do recommend good ventilation with Eco Strip just because it does get smoky. But other than that, we'll let it sit for, we'll go 15 minutes again, see what kind of progress we've made, and then we'll check them out. All right, so we'll go ahead and check this one out real quick. You can see the smoke kind of coming off of it, but you can see how much more effective this one is over the other two. This part's almost completely stripped. There's a little bit there still. And if I can get it turned around, looks like most of the backside is done. And I can't really tell up under there, but you can still see some right there. So we'll let it sit for another 15 minutes like the other ones, and we will come back and check it. All right, so now it's been another 15 minutes, a total of 30 minutes, and we will go ahead and check them again and see kind of where we're at. So again, doesn't look like much has changed on this one. I think you'll probably be able to see this one a lot better, how the powder is starting to wrinkle up and starting to separate itself from the actual part. So we'll go ahead and set that one back in there. I'll check these smaller ones again. Same thing, not much of a difference on this one, and this one is almost completely wrinkled. So these look like they're stripping pretty fast, which is kind of weird because in my previous testing, this one was definitely faster. So I'm not sure why it's coming out like that now, but you can see this one, not much has changed on it either. So we'll go ahead and pull that one out and you'll be able to see a difference on it as well. Yeah, so you can probably definitely see that one, how it's all bubbled up and wrinkled. So this one's definitely acting quicker right now. I'm not sure what's different from my last test, but right now these are both at about 65 degrees here in my garage. So you can kind of get an idea. We'll go ahead and let them sit for 30 minutes and we'll come back and check it. And maybe I'll actually rinse these and see if the powder is just on there but not actually still stuck to the part. And then I will go ahead and cut this clip and we will check out the one in the Eco Strip. I think it's going to be completely stripped now, if not very close. Alright, so this one's also been in for 30 minutes, and that you see on there is just sitting there, it's already loose. So this one's completely stripped in 30 minutes. Maybe it stripped it a little bit quicker than that, but I was doing 15-minute increments. So, but you can see there's no powder left on here. So this one's ready to go. We're just gonna go ahead and leave it back in here for now. And let me get this camera put up and I'll get it taken out and rinsed off. All right, so we'll go ahead and check these. It's been another 30 minutes. So we're sitting at an hour total for these parts. I'm gonna go ahead and pull them out and I'm gonna rinse them off just in case these have actually stripped and the powder is just sitting on the part. That way we can get a good idea how these have progressed. So as you can see, these have stripped quite a bit. It's still on there, but it's pretty much looks like it's released from the metal itself. So I'll go ahead and get them on the tray. Same with this one, I believe it was paint. These are looking real promising. So we're gonna get it tested, or we're gonna get it sprayed off and see if there's any stuck to it and how much is left. You can see that it is thinning out. I know it's going to be real hard to see on camera, especially from that far away. So hopefully I'm kind of thinking that some of this is going to come off when I do rinse it, but we'll just have to do that and see. This one doesn't look like a lot has changed on it. And then we'll get the last one out. This one is thinning out in some of the corners where the powder is most likely a little bit thinner, but looks like a lot is still on it. So I'm going to keep these separated, and I'm not going to video this part of rinsing them off. I'm going to take them outside, rinse them, and I'll bring them back in and put them in the same spot they're in now, so you'll be able to tell what is what. The cool part about this stuff is that you don't need a neutralizer. You don't need a neutralizing tank. It'll neutralize with just water. So you can have a tank if you want. You just put water in it and that'll neutralize it, or you can just go straight to rinsing them off. There's no need for a separate tank with TSP or baking soda, something like that, to neutralize it. So that is one of my favorite parts about this. So let's go ahead and rinse it out, rinse them off, and we'll see what we're left with. Okay, so after rinsing the parts off, this was the one in the EnviroStrip, and you can see it was completely black before, and now it's 100% clean, besides the top, because that was sticking out of the chemical. It was not fully submerged. And also this piece didn't look like it had been hit at all, or like really phased, besides in the corners, and you can see it's completely clean. There's no powder left on this part at all. So I'm really impressed by that. Within an hour, I mean, that one had some little tight spots in it, which usually those can be problems. Even these little top seats where they use to line up for when they're welding, usually those will hold powder in them pretty bad. Like this one right here, you can see that there's still powder left in there. I'm not sure if you can see that on camera, but you can see like the pieces right here, and then in all the corners there's still powder left in there. So this is an hour in, and this one, most of it is stripped. I think another 30 minutes or so and it's going to be completely stripped. And this one as well, this one's completely clean. So it stripped these, you know, about the same, I'd say, besides the part that was sticking out of the chemical. But really the simple parts that stripped the same. The parts with more kind of angles and tighter areas, I'd say the EnviroStrip did significantly better. And what's strange is these pieces right here, the EnviroStrip hardly did anything at all to it, and the Quick Cut 3 pretty much took it all off. I'm thinking it's E-coat. I'm not too familiar with that coating. Now that I think about it though, it might not actually be paint. To confirm that, I'm gonna go ahead and spray paint some parts. I know that's not typical automotive grade paint, but I want to see how they perform with just even spray paint. But it didn't really touch this. But if it is E-coat, E-coat usually blasts off pretty easily. And another thing that makes me think that's E-coat is it came with some little U-bolts, and they're completely coated, and it looked just like these. So I'm thinking that it's going to be E-coat because it's a little bit thinner than paint, I believe. Y'all don't quote me on that. If I'm wrong, maybe correct me down in the comments. But the threads are even coated, so I think E-coat you can thread a nut over. I'm not 100% sure on that, but that's kind of what I'm thinking. So you can see though that this one did come off in chunks, and it did leave a lot of chunks or like pieces of powder when I sprayed it off. This one, it just dissolves it. That's really what I like about this chemical, just like the EcoStrip, is that it dissolves the coating instead of leaving a bunch of pieces floating in your chemical or where you're spraying the parts off and things like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and set this back in there for another 30 minutes and see how it does, just in case you are interested in this one, or if you need to remove a bunch of E-coat. I believe that's what that is. Maybe this one would be the one for you. And like I said, I'm gonna get some parts spray painted and we'll see how it does with those. So let's go ahead and get this one back in there. And I will put the other side of the longer pieces back in there also, just so we can get those stripped. I'm not gonna put that one back in there just because it is completely stripped down. And then I'm also going to put, looks like I lost my little hook. I'm gonna put this one back in there and see if maybe it'll take it off, and maybe we can pinpoint what that coating is specifically. So we'll let these sit about another 30 minutes and we'll come back and check on them. All right, so I went ahead and skipped the 30-minute mark and just went ahead and went for an hour. Figure we go ahead and do that, see if this one made a difference, and see if hopefully all these pieces just blow right off. But as you can see, it's still just that little corner still stuck on there, but being that I was in there an hour, should blow right off with the pressure washer. And let me find my hook. I'm not sure where it went. We can get this one out. See, it's still on there too. I think the same thing as last time. It's gonna come right off. Let's see. Oh, here's my hook. So this coating is still on there. Gonna hit it with the pressure washer, see if there's any change in that one. Okay. So some of the pieces have flaked off inside the chemical, and they've just kind of sunk to the bottom for the most part. I can still see some stuff floating around in here from the last time I stripped some stuff, and that has been a while. Like I said, that's kind of one of the things that makes this not my favorite. Just because this one, it does dissolve and just settle to the bottom. And then once you start getting an excess of it, you can just pump this out and then scoop the sludge out of the bottom. Same as the Eco Strip. These kind of strip similar to each other. This one's just not a heated chemical. So let's hit these with the pressure washer and we'll see if that made a difference. All right, so after rinsing off the parts, this one is still coated. There's a couple little spots missing, but it's not enough to say it really stripped it. I'm gonna go ahead and call this E-coat, just because the threads and everything are coated. So that kind of tells me that it wouldn't be paint, and it's obviously not powder because it would be stripping. So I'm gonna go ahead and strip this one and that one, since that did strip the other one like it. And I'm going to put this one here in this chemical, because you can see after 2 hours there's still some stuff in the corners, and then in these little slots right here where they line it up for the welding, there's still some down in there. So let's go ahead and dip it into the EnviroStrip, and we'll see if it goes ahead and finishes it off. Make sure there's not just something up with this part, which I don't think there is. So we're gonna go ahead and do this. Whoop. So I accidentally just got it on my hand. I'm gonna rinse it off here in a second, but it's gonna be fine. And you can see this one right here is from the Eco Strip. There is no flash rusting, so I also like that about these chemicals, that something like rim strip, this part would be orange. They instantly flash rust with that. They come out perfectly clean, and just before they powder coated it. So that's another good thing about those. So we'll go ahead and let this one sit in here, and we'll let that E-coat piece sit in there and see if they take care of each other. All right, so now it's the next day, and I do have some painted little sample cards that I use for when I powder if I need to spray a sample. They're just aluminum. They were not sandblasted. They were not really prepped. They each have 3 layers of spray paint on them. That's all I have on hand. I don't have any automotive grade paint or anything like that. So we're gonna let these sit in here for 15 minutes, and we'll come back and check it and see kind of where they're at, and if we need to go further past that, we'll probably do another 15 minutes, and kind of like we did with the powder. So let's go ahead and dip these in here, and we'll start a timer. Alright, so it's been about 15 minutes. Let's go ahead and pull these and see kind of where we're at. So that one, you can see a lot of silver. Same with that one. So I think these are at the stage where I can rinse them off. So let's see if I can just shake them off in here and get them clean maybe. Looks like they came a little cleaner. I'm gonna go ahead and set them on the tray and rinse them off and see if they come clean. Alright, so after 15 minutes, they're both clean. The one in the Quick Cut 3 still has a little bit of discoloration on it. I don't know if you can see that from that far away. Maybe another couple minutes and that would have came off. If you're going to be blasting it, that's going to come right off. So I'm not too worried about that. So about 15 minutes for 3 layers of spray paint. Both of these chemicals did a pretty good job. This one has no color left on it at all. The one that came out of the EnviroStrip. And this one just has slight color. Like I said, I don't know if you can see that, but this one was the one in the Quick Cut 3. The one side's perfectly clean, and the one side just has a little bit left. So both of these handled 3 layers of spray paint pretty well, I'd say. So there we go. There's the test. We did a little bit of powder, a little bit of E-coat, I believe. I'm not 100% sure if it was E-coat. I am gonna order some things that I know that I coated in E-coat, and we'll give them both a try again. That way I can confirm that. This one did strip the one I believe that is E-coat, and this one would not. Alright, so that is going to conclude our test for this video. I will be doing some more tests as time goes on, but you got to see Quick Cut 3, EnviroStrip, and EcoStrip, the one I have here behind me that I'm using personally. But in conclusion, I would say that if you're not going to be messing with what I believe was E-coat, I don't want to say that for sure until I get some parts that I know are E-coated, and I will do another video with that test. But for paint and powder, and you don't want a heated chemical, I'm going to say EnviroStrip was the winner. This one definitely released it quicker, but in the tight areas, it was still left there. So I'm going to have to say that EnviroStrip was the winner. I like the way that it does dissolve the powder instead of just releasing it. By that I mean, like, this one comes off in chunks and it's kind of left in your chemical, or when you blow it off, it's left all over your container or wherever you might be pressure washing or rinsing your parts off. This stuff just kind of dissolves down into a sludge, which could be messy, but like I said, all you gotta do is pump it out, get to the bottom, scoop your sludge out, and refill your drum, your barrel, whatever you might be using. Same with the EcoStrip. It strips more like the EnviroStrip. Same thing, you're going to need to pump it out, get the sludge out. But hopefully this answers a lot of questions. I do get several questions on the EcoStrippers just because they're not that common yet. To my knowledge, a lot of the guys are really using either rim strip or B17, things like that, which those are still available. Rim strip is available on the website, as well as PS1L and the epoxy 1010P. Those are all there. I don't know for how much longer we will be able to get those with the methylene chloride activator, so this might be something to consider. And if you do have kids or pets or anything like that running around your garage, if you're doing it at home, these are a lot safer. You can get them on you, although you should wear your PPE and things like that. But you can get them on you and they don't just melt your skin away. So that is kind of nice about these. And I do like how they don't flash rust the steel parts after you take them out like rim strip would, which usually blasts right off, but it just kind of looks ugly, gets all over your hands, gets all over everywhere. And this kind of just comes out how it was before it was coated. So hopefully that helps answer some of y'all's questions. If you have anything else, drop a comment below. Feel free to email me. I'll put my email in this video. It'll also be in the description, and as well as a link to all these chemicals. They will be in the description below. You can purchase them directly from my website, royalpowdercoats.com. So I think that's it for the day. Until next time.